Hi there, and good morning. Welcome to Tea with the Fertility Godmother. And today we are going to be talking about 5 tips to improve your egg quality. So as you join on the call, I'd love to hear from you. And so if you can just go ahead and comment below, put your name in there. And what our purpose is to give you some really helpful information as you're trying to have a baby. And also, I'd like to create this as a space for you to ask me for you to ask me questions directly. So if you have a question that comes up specifically to your case, or if you have a friend or something, then please be sure to comment in the space below and just go ahead and let me know that you're here when you're here. Okay. And so again, we're going to be talking about the 5 tips of how to improve your egg quality. A lot of people, egg quality is really, really important in order to trying to conceive and having a baby. And many people kind of skip over that part until it's they're trying to conceive and they're having problems or struggles, and they've been diagnosed with poor egg quality from either advanced maternal age, or if you're young, you have the premature ovarian failure, all these great terms that we get labeled with. And what happens is, though, what a lot of people don't realize is our eggs, where women are born with their eggs. There's my cat, do you see it? Hi, Tina. I always have a visitor. Women are born with their eggs. So your health, your whole health impacts the quality of your eggs. The whole genetics about it is going to impact it. But what people also don't realize is the reason preconception care is so important, and taking that 3 months before, is you don't just ovulate like this cycle. Your body starts preparing to ovulate 3 months before. And actually, if you want to get really technical, even a year prior, it's like 13 menstrual cycles before you get ready to ovulate. So what happens is it really takes a long time for your body to be able to produce this follicle or this egg for this next month. So it's really important to take that opportunity. It's a really great window of opportunity to get really healthy if you're not already. And obviously, when you get pregnant, you want to stay healthy. And it's going to not only impact your chances of getting pregnant, but it'll impact your pregnancy, and it'll impact your health of your child. And we know that more and more all the time through the science. We're able to research that. From the placenta, they can tell. And then also there's been some long-term studies based on the health of the mother. So we know that once you're pregnant, most people want to be like super healthy, but the key is to get healthy before you're pregnant, really get an optimal health. And so that's something that that's one of my big tips today, is really taking that 90 days to get an optimal health. And some of the best ways to do that would be through acupuncture and Chinese medicine. So when you're working with somebody who specializes in fertility, and that's really important if you're going to be doing acupuncture, is you're working with somebody who really specializes with fertility, and they know what's going on with your body. And if you're working with a doctor, they know how that's going to happen. So again, if you guys pop in, and please say hello and go ahead and put some comments below there. If you have any questions, okay? So your health is going to be really important, and you want to work with a really good acupuncturist. I got sidetracked, sorry, bear with me. What happens with acupuncture is it increases blood flow, and it helps balance your hormones so that you can have better quality, because when you get older or when you're stressed, the blood flow to your reproductive organs is diminished. The same as when you have caffeine. The caffeine is a vasoconstrictor. So not only you really want to have really good healthy blood. So you especially when you're pregnant, everything that you have is going to go directly to the baby. So the caffeine, to have that little tiny embryo and fetus process that caffeine, it's really hard on their little nervous system. So it's really important to really prepare yourself and start weaning off of the caffeine. So acupuncture helps do a lot of things. It helps with stress. It helps balance your hormones. It helps increase blood flow. It's really great. And it works by you working through your ovaries and your brain. That's called the hypothalamus pituitary ovarian axis. So the way your ovaries communicate with your brain, and it really helps balance your hormones out, balance your body out. And then there's Chinese medicinal herbs. I'm sure there's a lot of herbs, but my experience and profession is, or expertise is in Chinese medicine. So there's a lot of Chinese herbs that have been researched to show that they increase ATP in the mitochondria. So what that means for you is that every cell has energy. If you remember from back in science, you have in the mitochondria, there's that ATP, and that's the energy of the cell. And you need, in order to have healthy cells, you need to be able to produce the ATP. So the more healthier your cells are, the healthier your eggs are going to be. So there's a lot of Chinese herbs that are really great to target egg quality. The other thing, which if you follow me at all, you know I'm a huge proponent of eating healthy. I mean, I really believe and have seen in our clinic that eating healthy makes a huge difference in your whole life. So, and what that looks like is, you know, a lot of vegetables, and a good quality protein, organic. I like, in most cases, not every case, but in most cases, I'm a big proponent of grass-fed beef or lamb, bone broth. Those are really important because it nourishes your body. When you want to get your body ready to get pregnant, so not only are you helping with egg quality, but you want to get your body ready to get pregnant. And so, excuse me, you need to make sure that you're building it up so that it can sustain and support the pregnancy. Because once you do conceive, it's going to be, you know, that baby is going to be sucking everything out of you. Okay, so we have the Chinese medicine, acupuncture, and then diet is huge. So the other thing is if you're going to be increasing blood flow to the reproductive organs, you want to really get nutrient dense blood to there, right? You want it to be healthy so that you can nourish those ovaries. If you don't have nutrient-rich blood and increasing blood flow, you're not going to get as good as results as if you did. I'm sure you can imagine that. The other thing is it's really important to get enough sleep. So, and enough sleep doesn't have to be like 10 hours. It's usually somewhere around 6-7 hours. 7, it seems to be great. If 8 would be even better, if that works for you. But it's important to find out where you function the best at. But getting a really good night's sleep is really important. So figuring out ways to do that. I see a lot of women in our clinic that are struggling with sleep because they're so stressed, or possibly they're not eating properly during the day, and that can affect your blood sugars. So you want to manage your stress through exercise, through meditation, through yoga. You know, we have our daily stresses of life, and then you put on top of it trying to conceive and it's not happening. And that stress every month, that failure that feels like a failure every month, and it builds up over time, adds more stress. So it's really important to manage that. And, you know, by doing gratitude exercises every morning when you wake up, you know, think of 3 things that you're really grateful for. But don't just think about it, like really take a moment and get present to that feeling of gratitude, whether it be your partner, or that the sun came up, or that you're breathing, your dog, or whatever it may be. It can be big, it can be small. But once you start creating that, it really helps set your day to be a healthier and happier day. So things like that are helpful. And there's actually a study done that showed with people who have anxiety, if they take every hour, just take, you know, 2 minutes to think about things they're grateful for, then you kind of get out of that cycle of that feeling anxious and upset. So if you're really struggling, then that's a great tip that's very doable. Just every hour, you know, think of things that make you happy. I'm a big fan of Tony Robbins, and he says, and I believe it's a psychological view, is that you can't have fear and grateful, or fear and being happy at the same time. So if you can manage those thoughts a little bit over time, you're going to be it's going to be really helpful for you. Also, Brene Brown, if anybody's a fan of Brene Brown, she really talks a lot about mindfulness and managing your brain. I love her work. She has some great podcasts or TED Talks. So the other thing you can do is exercise. So exercise is going to help increase oxygen. It's going to help you relieve stress. It's going to increase circulation. So that's going to be really helpful. And then the key is how much exercise, right? So you want to make sure that you're doing enough to where you're getting some circulation and you're relieving your mind, but you don't want to overdo it. So being stagnant and sitting all day long or being stuck on the couch, that's really not good. It's not healthy for you in the first place, and then it's not going to be good to help you conceive. So even if you have a standing desk at work, or if you can just make sure that you stand up at work every hour for a couple minutes. A good tip is if you're drinking enough water, then you'll probably be going to the bathroom every hour, and that'll get you up and moving. But also just doing some exercise. So when you're trying to conceive, you probably don't want to be training for a marathon or an Ironman, but you can definitely exercise, especially if you're you like to exercise now. I hate telling people who are really into running or really into exercise, telling them not to exercise. It's finding you just don't want to exercise too extreme. So if you're training for a marathon or something and you want to have a baby, it may not be the best time because that's a lot of work. It's awesome, but you have to think about your priorities and your timing. Yoga is great. If you like yoga, there's many different types of yoga. That's really good. You get some movement, you get some stretching, and that's really helps you stay young and vital. And it's very rejuvenating. So that's always a great one if you're up for that. And the other thing is, I had 6 here. I wasn't going to talk about exercise, but I did anyway. I'll give you a bonus because I want to talk to you guys about this stuff. The other thing I wanted to mention is supplements. So there's a lot of things, if you're doing research on the internet, they talk about what supplements you can take, and there's a ton of them, and a lot of them work very well. And depending on your situation is going to really depend on what supplements you should be taking. So if you're not on a prenatal, please be on a prenatal like yesterday. Okay, that's really important to be on a prenatal vitamin and not a multivitamin. I've had so many women come in and they're on a multivitamin, but if you're trying to conceive, it's really important to be on a prenatal vitamin because there's a completely different nutrients that are needed in your body. You don't want to have too much of the vitamin A that's in a multivitamin. You need a little bit more iron. You need a little bit more folate, and you need you need a lot of different things. So it's really important to be on a high quality prenatal vitamin. And how do you know if it's a good one? Then you want to make sure that it has like a stamp. It's called a GMP stamp. It stands for Good Manufacturing Practice. So if you want to just check the label or research the company, those are some great tools. Or if you want to get it through your practitioner, that's always a good resource as well. I know there's so many vitamins and supplements out there and they're not regulated, and you want to make sure that you invest in a good vitamin, not just over the counter at the supermarket. Whole Foods has some great vitamins. They have some good quality ones, but make sure that you get a good one because you want to absorb all the nutrients that you're taking, and you want to know that you're doing it. You don't want to just hope that you're doing it because that's not going to help you in the long run, right? Coenzyme Q10 is a really popular vitamin or supplement. It tends to be on the pricey side. That's the only problem with it. And you need to take high doses. So depending on your situation, you'd have to talk to a practitioner, someone like myself or somebody else who would know about coenzyme Q10 for you, how much you should be taking. But they've shown that it's a really high antioxidant. So antioxidants are huge for egg quality, but coenzyme Q10 actually increases the ATP in the mitochondria, which we talked about earlier. So it's really helpful in egg quality because when your eggs are being created and when you are pregnant, that cell division is just so rapid. You really need to have enough energy. So that's, again, another reason why it's so important to do preconception care. So you have that reserve to be able to sustain not only get pregnant, be able to sustain a pregnancy. Antioxidants, vitamin C and vitamin E. I particularly like more of like whole foods. So if you're going to eat oranges, or if you want to take some additional vitamin C, that's fine. Wheat germ oil is great because it's the whole form of the vitamin E. It's easy to take. If anybody has any questions, please go ahead and post them below. I see one here. What about weightlifting? Is that okay? Yes, weightlifting is awesome. I think, you probably don't want to be doing a lot of crunches after ovulation, or and some really deep squats and stuff, but definitely you can lift weights. That's a good question. Again, it's going to depend on how intense, but I think even if you're doing once in a while, you're doing before you're trying to conceive, like a CrossFit, you can definitely do that. That'll really help you with stress, right? If that's something that you're into. I think that, if you're trying to conceive, probably CrossFit at that point wouldn't be good. After the first month, you can do some other exercises, but you can definitely get out, and the muscle is going to be really important to build muscle so that you, sorry, got distracted there. So it's going to be really important for you to build muscle for not only to help balance your blood sugars, but it's going to help with circulation. It's going to help your whole metabolism, which brings me into weight. If you're overweight, if you can just lose about 5% of your body weight, that will also help you with your egg quality, so that you have a better chance of conceiving. So the tips I mentioned are acupuncture. You really want to make sure that you use somebody who specializes in fertility acupuncture, and you can do that by going to the FABORM website, the ABORM.org, and there's a whole people from all over the country. I also do work with people that aren't local here in our clinic. I help them. So if you're interested in having a consultation to get you started on the right path, I would love to help you with that. So there's acupuncture, there's the Chinese herbs, because it's really going to help nourish your body, build your body up, and help with egg quality. There's the ton of supplements that you can take, the coenzyme Q10. One thing that I didn't mention that I want to talk to you real quickly about, the omega fatty acids. Having a really high quality fish oil will be really helpful for you in a lot of different ways, not only for your overall health, but for your egg quality. So I don't know if you remember or if you ever learned, but every cell is surrounded by what's called phospholipids. So you really want to make sure that your body has enough healthy fats so that the cells are pliable. So if they're rigid, if they're not nourished enough, the nutrients can't get into the cell, so the cell's not going to be as healthy. So you want to make sure you're having enough essential fatty acids to nourish the cells, so that I hope you like my diagram here. I hope that makes sense to you. So that the nutrients can pass through and that you have a healthy cell. That's really important to make sure that you have a good amount of essential fatty acids. And then the antioxidants are huge, not only for women, but also for men. Make sure that you have good, healthy sperm too. But we're talking about the eggs today. And the other thing is the diet is huge. Just making sure you're eating a lot of vegetables, watching the sugar and you can have carbs, but you want to have healthy carbs, because that's going to increase your sugar, and sugar is not your friend. And supplements, weight, and sleep. Those are all some things that are really important to help with egg quality. So I hope that's really helpful for you, and we will see you next week on Tuesday, Tea with Denise, or Tea with the Fertility Godmother. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you.